Hi, and welcome to the Android Coliseum Sunday afternoon hangout number 58. I am 1 year older, or starting a new year today, and it's cold pretty well everywhere in North America. So here's our team. I'm going to start at the far end. We have Mark.
Hey.
Hi, Mark.
Hello.
Martin.
Hey, guys.
Brian.
Hey, everybody.
Sylvain.
Hi, everybody. I'm just waiting to crash again.
And Tom.
Hey, guys.
So I have a mission this week, and it is to match Tom's on-time session. So we're going to try and keep this to an hour if we can, and let's get started. Mark is going to talk about a new app out. Take it away, Mark.
So yeah, maybe several weeks ago I did one of my picks for the app Coliseum was Cal while it was still in beta, and I was saying how actually it was really nicely done, looked really great, but it was still a little bit choppy and obviously still beta material. Well, it looks like just this last week, Anydo officially released it as a official release now, and it actually they've definitely improved it. It's a lot smoother and they've done a lot of features. And they actually have a tablet oriented, so it's so now if you were interested in what I was or in the app that I was doing and you couldn't get your hands on it, now you can jump and get it. The other advantage to it now is it integrates with Anydo, so you can if you have a task in your Anydo, it'll pop up as a reminder in your calendar.
And it's a standalone calendar, right? It doesn't use Google Calendar at all?
It'll actually use your Google Calendars. It'll use your Outlook calendars, so it'll put those in. It'll import those in, and it'll sync those. And as well, it'll also take your birthdays from your Facebook friends, and it'll bring those in as well.
Okay, so it's a pretty well-rounded calendar app for people that are big fans of Anydo. Sylvain, you have a question? You're muted.
Okay, I'm just wondering what would be the reason for me to quit Google Calendar and go with that one.
Mark.
Sorry, I had his volume was way down. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I'm just wondering why I would change from Google Calendar.
I can't hear him.
He's asking why would you change from Google Calendar to Anydo? What is changing?
The Cal app actually it looks a lot better than the one or than the Google one. It's actually maybe I can bring it up here to demonstrate. Just don't have a look at all my my stuff that I have coming up here. So if you look, it gives you like this is the tablet one, so it has a tablet version, and it has your month on the left side, and then it has your stuff on here, and you can swipe around, you can go straight to a day, you can hop back to your current day. Can you see very well, or is it too bright?
It's a little too bright at the moment, but
Yeah.
But we get the idea.
Yep.
Yeah. But they also import images from Flickr, so it's much more visually appealing, and it's still quite easy to actually I can pop up. So let me just, the transitions are also nice. The brightness should be better now, I think. The transitions are nice, so it brings up, and then it has a nice background from Flickr, and you can go through and do a lot of things. You can set reminders, and it's just a lot nicer looking than the stock Google one.
So Martin, you have a comment?
Yeah, that's one of the things about Cal from NED that I don't like to have that background thing in the back. It annoys the hell out of me. And the widgets with that red and white tones that they have to it completely sucks. I want to actually change that entirely. Different color scheme altogether. It does just not work for me.
Well, there we have two different ideas on whether the new calendar by Anydo is something that would suit you. So definitely something to try out. Yeah, lots of options.
I've already made a couple of feedbacks over to the group. They could actually implement different color schemes or allow the color schemes to be adjusted for whoever wants it. Would be even better.
Yeah, so that's the thing is they do have a community on AnyDo does have a community on Google Plus. So if you have any feature requests or things you can do, and you can just join the community there and leave your comments.
Okay, well, if you decide to try that, if you're looking for a new calendar app, that might be for you. Now, a few weeks ago, Mark had a rant about USB cables and connections to devices because his wife's device crashed, and they must have been listening because they are saying new adapter plugs are coming out. So Mark's going to talk about that a little more.
Yeah, me again. Yeah, this was kind of had that rant because it was the whole design of micro USBs and USBs in general was not, well, actually USBs are a bit tougher, but micro USBs, they're very flimsy and they can break easily because they have a cantilevered centerpiece. But it sounds like the USB promotion group or whatever, I'm not sure what their name is, they had announced that they were looking at implementing a new reversible micro USB and a USB design. That's going to be standard USB 3.1, I believe it is, and it's not going to be backwards compatible. So you're going to have to get new adapters and everything if you want to go plug in with everything. But they do fix a problem that's been plaguing I guess USB for a while, and that's just every time it takes you 3 times to plug a USB in. Once to not get it right, then flip around once and it's not right, and then flip around and then it finally fits. That's kind of, and then we know that it's an issue because Apple has when they released their Lightning connector, that one's a much better design, but yeah.
So how do you guys feel about that? Looking forward to it? Not looking forward to it?
Well, I have a comment. I mean, I always think back to the days like when Canon came out with their new standard, connectors, right, versus the old barrel connector. And they told everybody it was going to be not backwards compatible, and there was a huge uproar. And then when iPhone did the same thing. I mean, when they talk about this is USB 3.1. This is something down the road. We don't even know how long, it'll be accepted before it's accepted in a computer. But how long before we start seeing those types of connectors in terms of on our devices? It could be a while. So, I mean, people might look at this and get upset, but it's still down the road a fair bit.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that works.
Just don't be collecting your cables for too much more.
Yeah. What about you, Tom? You have a comment?
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for new ideas and changes, and having a reversible cable would be a pretty good idea. But everybody has to jump on the same boat at the same time, because Apple ran into a huge problem when they brought out their Lightning connection. I was an Apple guy back in the day, and I was with them when they made that change. I had a buttload of accessories, and they all were garbage, all within a new device. And they have to make sure everyone follows suit within a relatively close time, because we got speaker docks and portable chargers and car docks and everything, and we don't want to have to go out and buy a whole new arsenal of accessories for a guy like me who has everything for every occasion. That would be my only thing. If you're going to do it, everyone has to make that switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, switching is always tough because you're gonna have those problems where compatibility and everything. But eventually, at some point, you do have to pull the trigger. If something is a bad design, you do eventually have to pull the trigger, and it's better to do it earlier when people don't have as many accessories than later when you start building up more and more accessories.
Well, and I don't know how much that it's going to be for specific use now, because there's a lot of stuff out that's Bluetooth connected, Wi-Fi, local area network. So it'll be interesting just to see how this is implemented, especially wireless charging. There's a lot more things that are available to us than when the original micro USB port came out. Any last comments? Okay, I am on a mission. So we've all been pretty interested in KitKat. It's come out, and at the same time, a lot of other devices have updated to the latest Jelly Bean, but KitKat is already being updated. So Tom and Ryan are going to talk about that.
All right. Well, I'll kick it off, and I'll shift it off to Ryan when I'm done. And so basically, I'm running KitKat 4.4.1 on my Nexus 5, and it did come with some camera improvements that everyone was really hoping for, especially the HDR Plus. Now it has a little loading design on it. I can't really show you now because I mean it's a bit hard. But when you have your little aiming circle, and it kind of shows you when it's locked on, when you hit the shutter button to take a picture with HDR Plus, you have a little loading bar within the circle. It takes about a second or so. Lets you know that something's happening, lets you know that your phone's not frozen. Because before, it kind of just sit there, and there was that 1 second of wonder going, You know, so, and the camera launches faster. It focuses more aggressively at a more frequent rate. And even when taking pictures, you got that split second of reduced delay, which is a lot better. I'm saying this on terms of the Nexus 5. I can't say the same for other devices. I haven't tried. Also, on the Nexus 5, they really did increase the volume, and that was a big problem. The volume was very low and very weak. So they've actually increased it. It's probably about 20% volume increase. It's not a whole lot, but it's a noticeable amount to make it, nice. The LED light blinks a little more faster, a little more frequent. Little minor features here and there. There's a cast screen for mirror casting. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with the Chromecast. And the other feature I will give Ryan, and then after Ryan, I know Martin has a comment. So go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, one of the things I'm noticing on the Nexus 4, one of the things that happened, when the Nexus 4 updated versus the Nexus 5, the Nexus 5, when it got, for example, it no longer has a gallery app. It now just uses the Google Plus Photos app, right? So with the new Net 4.4.1, if I go into my camera app and I swipe, right to go look at the pictures, it's now using G Plus Photos now. So that is using G Plus Photos. So you can get rid of the gallery app entirely now. I'm not ready to do that myself. And the other option that people were having some issues with, not everybody, was getting voicemail notifications on 4.4 on a Nexus 4. That's gone now. I'm actually getting all my voicemails when I get them now, as many phone calls as I actually get. Who uses their phone as a phone? But that's been cleaned up. So if you are looking to update your device, I mean the Nexus 4, the Nexus 5, the Nexus 7 LTE, and I do believe the Nexus 10 just updated itself as well for the OTA updates. You can go to our site. I gave a quick little, instruction set on how to manually do that update, because I know even people like Pauline was mentioning that he doesn't have even the first 4.4 bug fix update that came out on his Nexus 5. So why wait? Just go and sideload it. It really takes no time. 10 minutes, even at that, is all it took for me. And you don't even need to have root to do these things. So go do it. Why wait? Get the best and latest.
Well, and this is why you would have a Nexus device, to me. So, Martin, what were you going to comment on?
Well, for myself, I mean, I know that the 4.4.1 is actually out on the HTC One as well for CyanogenMod, mod, so I'm actually going to load that up later on and test the new camera, see if it works better than what it did before.
Okay. Well, with 4.4, we got that ART system. So Tom's just going to talk a little bit more about that, because it's a change from the Dalvik file system that they used to have for caching system.
Yeah, the Dalvik system's old, and it does need to be refreshed. I mean, there's a couple of Google developers you can search for it, and they were talking about it. And it's old, but it's reliable, and that's why Google chose to use it. But now they've been working on this ART, or ART, however you want to pronounce it, and they've been working on this for 2 years, and they actually decided to release it with KitKat, but only as a developer stage. It's not quite ready. They say it's not quite ready, but what is ready with Google? Everything's always beta until the end of time. So, I mean, it's just there. Try it. ART quite literally made my benchmarks double. And I'm not even joking. I'm not even exaggerating. It was literally double the scores. And you really feel it when you're scrolling around the core apps of Google and the Android. The menus just flow through, and there's zero lag, and you do notice a bit of a change. However, that being said, it works great with the core Google apps, but there is the odd app in between by third-party developers that might crash. My app that I found, and it was kind of a deal breaker for me, was my Final Fantasy IV game I've been playing. It wouldn't load up for me anymore. A couple other people were talking about WhatsApp, but that's been addressed apparently. I know Ryan knows a bit more about that. And so yeah, there's the odd app here in between, whatever, but for the most part, it works. It's great. I mean, you go and you change it, and Ryan will tell you how to change it when he gets there. You go and change it, and if you don't like it, you simply change back. It takes 5 minutes for each change. So I'll let Ryan continue this motion, so go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, ART, I mean, I'm sure guys like Martin, who are a little more tech savvy, etc., and understanding what goes on and that stuff, what really is going on. I've understood that some people have better life, battery life, a little faster snap. I don't really notice much difference on my Nexus 4, but I have an issue with barbecue screen, and for me, that's the deal breaker. I'd rather not. I'd rather have all my apps working, especially barbecue screen, which I like to use a fair bit. But more and more devices are working on it. Now, the neat thing, and Cass made a comment that we should get away from Java entirely. Well, I think that's the point, especially with the Oracle stuff still heating up now. Like the Oracle suite is now coming back. But yeah, if you have a Nexus device that's on 4.4, or any device that's on 4.4, let me just show you really quickly how you'd want to get into there. I'll again show you on barbecue screen. I am on barbecue screen here, and I would just scroll all the way down to my developer options. And if you don't have developer options, there's a quick little trick how to do it. And I'm going to do is select runtime. Right now I'm still on Dalvik just because I want all my apps to run. And I would choose to say use art, and then it'll actually reboot. And also just right now it'll reboot. It did take a long time. For me, it almost was, I would say, it was under 10 minutes for sure, but it definitely wasn't like 5 minutes. So, but it does take a while because it's rebuilding your system for those apps for that sort of kernel or whatever you want to call it. So, give it a try. You never know what's going to work.
And in the end, this will probably affect us the same way that when Windows went from FAT32 to NFPS or whatever they went to. Yep. It'll get better. It'll be a better file system, and it'll all work behind the scenes. So, these kind of things are always a good project to keep working on, especially as our memory, the memory on our devices gets more and more. So let's move on.
One last thing, sorry, I just wanted to mention a comment. Pierre was on our chat room and just saying, is it easily switched back? Well, you know what, if you are noticing an error on an app, same steps I showed you how to turn it on to art, switch it back to Dalvik and reboot. So it is super easy to switch back and forth, as Tom mentioned.
Okay, so let's move on. Speaking of getting things to all work together, wouldn't it be nice to have all those messaging apps work together? Ryan is going to talk about a replacement underpinning for messaging.
Yeah, so essentially, I don't know about you guys, I'm not a big texter. When I like to message people back and forth, I like instant messaging, and I like to use Hangouts. But not everybody uses Hangouts. Some people are on WhatsApp, some people are on Skype, some people are on iMessage or iChat or whatever it might be. So what they're looking at doing is this guy that what used to use something called Jabber or XMPP was sort of the base framework for a lot of the instant messaging clients out there. And they're looking to redo that because now a lot of companies have moved away from that XMP, that Jabber style. So now they've moved over to something different, and it's, again, proprietary, and then you're back into these walls. Like you can only talk to WhatsApp people. You can only talk to Yahoo chat people or whatever. There's a guy out there who developed Jabber originally is looking at developing this thing called Layer. And again, Layer would be sort of at the framework level of whatever software you're going to be using or developing for, that it would allow it to plug into the different types of chat programs. And so that if I wanted to talk to my parents on Skype, but I'm on the Hangouts app, there might be just one app to connect those things together at that level. And I think that'd be great, so that there's no walls. Like I think the Verge wrote an article, and one of the things they mentioned was the fact that if it's not it's not really open if you have to segment it by different types of apps. So it'd been interesting to see. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys out there are using different types of messaging chats. Like I have to keep Facebook open, Hangouts open, my text messaging. I have Skype, tons of the different types out there just to talk to the different people. And it'd be nice to have just one.
Well, that's interesting because I know I use texting. Unlimited texting, unlimited MMS, and then I use Hangouts. And apparently I'm using BBM for some work stuff.
Yeah.
So,
but what happens
it's
when you put your phone down? You put your phone down and you go to your tablet. Your phone's still in your coat pocket.
Text come over.
Yeah, sure enough. There are some of the apps now.
BBM doesn't come over, but, oh well. Yeah. Tom, you have a comment.
Yeah, I'm all for bringing all the chats together. I honestly can't wait for this and for it to be more developed and integrated with Android. Because, again, back in the iPhone days, when these messengers first started to become a popular thing, you had WhatsApp, you had Kick Messenger, Ping Chat, and then Kyoko Talk, and everybody uses a different one. You had to have like 4 or 5 different messengers to have all your friends, and I just got sick of it. Says, you know what? Text me. And I deleted all the apps, and I lost some friends during doing so. But you know what? It just drains the battery having all these things, listening for messages, and it's just there has to be a way to get them all together. And I'm actually surprised it's taken this long for somebody to do it. So I know there was IM Plus back in the day that had these things kind of going together, but it kind of fell apart and wasn't as together as it really should have been. And this is a long time coming that we should have already had by now.
Yeah, but the IM Plus still it just allowed you to log into the different ones. You had to make sure you're logged into them. Whereas I think this system will pin together these different ones, and I think would be really cool.
Yeah, because I remember Trillium as well, and it was the same kind of thing. You logged into all your different ones, and they all went into one app. Let's wrap this up with a comment from Mark.
Muted, buddy.
Mark? Unmute.
There we go. Wouldn't let me click it for some reason. Yeah, I think that it's good to have that layer, but the problem with the reason why there's so many different apps in here is a lot of them have different feature sets that are hard to translate along them. Like, for example, Hangouts, you can have up to 10 people, but Skype, you don't have that capability, right? And you have to get like the premium ones. So what if you wanted to have up to 10 people with the Hangouts app and bring someone with Skype in? They probably wouldn't work that way. So you have a lot of issues with the feature incompatibility with that you have to get around.
Well, I think it's probably still a work in progress. All the apps would have to choose to go with Layer as well.
Yeah.
So, any more comments on one app to rule them all? No, let's move on. Well, we are in December, and it's traditionally when we look back at the past year. And we have a poll going on, and it will continue to go on, but why don't we talk a little bit about what stood out for different people? Ryan, you want to talk about this part?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll just because we were trying to get some answers already on our site, and it's actually really cool getting people to talk about. I mean, obviously, a lot of people are saying stuff like the Nexus 5, KitKat. Well, that's the most recent sort of news we've had. A lot of interesting things, like people are mentioning stuff like the flagships, like the real big flagships, the S4, the Moto X, the HTC One, all those kind of guys really stepped up their game, and they're coming to be really top-end devices. There's a lot of devices like Moto, the rise of Motorola coming back again, the Moto X, the Moto G, really gonna, looking to take over. Some people talking about the idea that Google, how they're separating themselves from their core apps. The idea of Google and Google Android are two different, or Android and Google Android are two different things. So some cool things that are coming out there. Personally, I'd like to say, I think one of the cool things that's been coming out is the fact that the Motorola, I think, got us to rethink about flagships in terms of they're not top-end specs. It's about how you use it or whatever. So, I mean, I don't know what you guys think about what stood out in your mind this past year.
For me, it's Google's really amping up their Play Store for buying devices. Now, when they had the Nexus 4, people are still kind of getting used to the idea of buying their devices from the Play Store, right? But now, when the 5 came out and all the other, the 7 and the 10, it was like common knowledge. Oh, just go to the Play Store and get it. They really got that together. And also, we got the HTC One, S4, Google Play editions. We got the Moto X, which is basically stock. The fact that stock Google is on the rise and more people are adopting it, and that's just a beautiful thing. We never had that, in 2012, 2011. Everybody was either Samsung TouchWiz, we had LG, whatever they call theirs, I can't remember. Sense was huge and bloated back in that day, and everyone's slimming down and speeding up, and that's the way it should be. That is the beauty of Android, and I love it that it's all coming together, and Google is shining, as their own stock self, not just Samsung taking everything.
And somebody's mentioned the fact that one of the topics that they said that stood out for them is how stock devices don't really need to be rooted, and it's got enough, or it's come in such a mature level that it's stood on its own.
I think that all the processing power and stuff has finally come up. You have the infrastructure to have these heavier, more involved OSs. That's what happens as they mature. If you look at Windows 3.1 and Windows now, they're way different. And a lot of that comes from having the resources to be able to run this stuff in the background. So you guys think about what has stood out for you. I mean, those are all great. The reemergence of Moto as maybe everybody will want Motorola products like they did back in the Razr days. That would be something.
This is the Google Motorola. This is them coming out now.
Well, I certainly think that to be a serious player, you're going to have a Google edition available.
And I think this is
really do.
Yeah, and I think the really cool thing that's coming out too. I mean, and this is again what happens with Motorola and the Google sort of partnership is this new rumor of the new Nexus TV idea, right? I mean, you look at a company like Motorola. What were they really known for? I mean, at least in my realm, I really knew Motorola
TV
because
boxes.
They made the TV boxes, right? Yeah, excellent TV boxes. So, are they looking at making a new Google TV / Nexus TV device? And I'd be all over that in a heartbeat.
Well, there's a lot of interesting things that can certainly come down the pike. We were talking about it pre-show whether we think this is Skynet or the Umbrella Corporation.
Maybe both.
I'm thinking Umbrella myself, but who knows?
They have the live forever thing, which is kind of Umbrella-ish.
I
like
think
the
they've got
Skynet
that
idea.
They're too much outside the web to me to be just Skynet. So, anyways. One of the things that has been happening is they've been splitting out a lot of their apps. A lot of the Google apps are now available in the Play Store, and the latest one is the email app. Does anybody want to talk about that? I see no initial there. Oh, Ryan.
Oh, well, I mean,
about that.
when we saw 4.4, it updated. The only thing it really did when it updated was it made it look a little more, what do they call it, the hamburger menu, the slide-out menu. So it's got that. I mean, I don't really notice much difference. I'm not a big fan of how, when you look at it, if anybody uses it much, it has the folder thing on top of all your other emails. But it's nice. It's, again, definitely looks newer. But it's, again, another option for where we're starting to see that the Google might remove that, I guess, from the basic AOSP source, right? So the idea that stuff like for example, I'm just noticing now is Gallery no longer is really the default, photo handling app, without me choosing that option in the OS. So it's kind of interesting to see where they're going. And one of the discussions we had when we talked about looking back at 2013, somebody mentioned is that they're looking at, well, hey, these, Android and Google Android are definitely starting to separate. Android is still open source. You can still get it. I tried it out last night on my old little netbook. I tried getting an AOSP version of that built on my netbook, and without all the Google apps on it, it looks pretty bare now. But you start looking at other devices like Sony and all the similar apps they have, Samsung, the number of similar apps they have, that they really don't need to put that much on there, because you can go and get other apps elsewhere. But the stock email app, I just don't see the need for that to be a Google stock email app. We already have Gmail. Why not make Gmail allow to import other apps and or other email programs? I mean, we can go into the desktop and add in your old POP3 accounts, but if it would be possible from the app to add in your Exchange or your Work Exchange or something like that and just have the interface of Gmail, I think that would be better. But that's just my personal opinion.
And I think that's going to be how, if they are looking at splitting out that email app, that makes sense to make it easier to add things to Gmail and just have that as their email app. Why have two email apps? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'd rather have one email app that had everything in it. Mm-hmm. Really cool, and I really like Gmail. So.
Okay, so let's talk about our most recent giveaway. We had two $25 gift certificates to Jellaskins. If you don't know what Jellaskins are, they are like decals that go on the outside of your phone. So Martin and Ryan, who are your lucky winners?
For myself, it's Frederick St. Pierre. So he's going to be the lucky recipient of this $25 gift card from Jellaskin.
Yeah,
wow. And Ryan?
I've picked Tiffany T as well. And just one thing, so if you guys didn't win, I understand, hey, we can only pick two winners. A lot of people that were commenting on the thing saying, oh, well, you know what, I don't have a device that would work for that. Actually, it just probably didn't list it. You have to search for it. Like, I was searching for tons of different devices, and they have the skins and all the different ones. So, and they have some really cool ones. I remember back in my HTC Magic Day, and you could customize even your own. Yep. You could upload your own picture and do it. So, yeah, congratulations to Frederick and to Tiffany. We'll be sending you a Google Plus message with the code, and let us know how it works and show us what you did with it when you get it back.
Absolutely, show us.
So cool. Yeah.
And remember, with Jellaskins too, you could have gotten art, even if, like, they do have framed art, if you don't want to put something on your device. So that's always an option too. Don't forget about that. You could prettify your physical world.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of reviews, Sony, and I'm not even getting paid to say that word, but Mark does. So Mark's going to talk about his Z1.
I'm not getting paid enough, I guess. So yeah, I finally got out the review for the Sony Z1, Xperia Z1, and I'm just going to be quick about this because we don't want to take up too much time. It's bottom line, it's a really great phone. It runs really well. It's a little bit large though because of the waterproofing. So if you have really small hands and you don't like that, then it's probably not the one you want. But the design is really nice. I actually really love the OS. It's very smooth. The camera is actually pretty good. I don't know if it's as good as something like the Nokia 1020 or some of the point and shoots and everything, but it's actually really good for a phone camera, and it's getting better. The updates, they've brought out more updates to improve the algorithms and everything. It works. It works underwater. You can take pictures underwater because it has the shutter button, which really is nice. You can take it in the pool. Just don't take it in the salt water because they don't want you to. I guess it's not rated for salt water, only fresh water. But other than that, yeah. You can check out my review on AndroidColiseum.com, and you can watch the video and you get more details on it.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Mark. That does sound like a really appealing device. And then Ryan had the Z Ultra.
Yeah, I've had this now for about a week, and I'm still not quite ready at a point to write the article. But just again to give you an idea, here is the Z Ultra up against my 9-inch netbook. It's almost the size of that 9-inch netbook. It's large. I'm starting to slowly figure out the Sony ecosystem that's out there. It's really kind of, it's not exactly as intuitive. I'm not 100% a fan of a lot of things, but a fan of other things on it as well. It's a really cool device. I have to say, it was pretty funny. My wife's comment, I give it to her, and I said, here, play around with this. Tell me what you think. Like, just use it. And she's like, it's a tablet, right? I'm like, no, it's a phone. No, this is a tablet. I'm like, no, it's actually a phone. She's like, no, it's like some sort of comic prop, is what she said. and it's one thing, after using it for a while, I've come to agree with that, because it just feels so, I hate to use the word impossibly thin, that for the size of it, again, I feel like I'm bending it in some way, or I'm going to bend it and break it. But, I mean, gorgeous screen for the size. It's actually really not bad. So, never a lag, never a slowdown, but it's got some hurdles for me to jump. So, anyways.
Well, and I think that's something that a lot of people find is once they move, unless they're moving, and I found even moving to Nexus, even though you're all in the Android world, you get used to things being a certain way, and then the adjustment can be quite time-consuming, regardless of how well you use Android. But Mark, you had a wind-up comment there?
Yeah, so in general, I tend to agree with you in the Sony apps area. The apps could be better designed. The movies, Video Unlimited isn't too badly designed, but I think a lot of them, they could be more intuitive. The only thing that comes up to that is they're really the only other game in town who has all the services, though. They have the music, they have the movies, they have the TV shows, they have all the books and everything. So they're on the same area as Apple in like coverage and content. While like Google still, like as soon as Google can bring all that stuff to Canada, then they will be in there too. But Google still lacks the TV shows and the music and everything. So
I get TV shows from Samsung.
From Google Play TV?
No, from the Samsung Video Hub.
Okay. Do they have TV show? Okay, then maybe Samsung is in there too with it. They have music too?
Yeah.
They have like a Samsung music store?
Well, they have a music hub. I think they use 7 or something like that.
I don't know.
Oh, I don't use it very much. I just started using it because I got some free rentals and coupons. So. Okay.
If that's the case, then Samsung has it as well, the music and everything. So these companies are getting in there. Google just needs to get their act together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it's always easier if you have one source instead of getting a bunch of sources.
Makes sense.
Okay. So we've covered our news and our reviews. Let's talk about updates for the week. We got a couple of ROM updates. Ryan, are you going to talk about that?
Oh, sure, I can talk about that. I'll do the update, everyone. Okay, so OmniROM recently got itself a 4.4 update, so a lot of people who had tried that out. And it's now also supporting what they call Delta updates. So if you were on CyanogenMod, for example, and Tom can talk about that, instead of downloading the whole new ROM, you're only going to actually download just the updates to the ROM and flash those updates. So now OmniROM supports that. Tom, you can talk about CyanogenMod.
All right, yeah, so CyanogenMod just released their M1 snapshots, which is their version of a stable build for the Nexus 5, and even the Galaxy Nexus, believe it or not. Hopefully Sylvain will like that. There is the odd little bug looming here and there. I actually was running it on my Nexus 5, and I actually took it off just about an hour before the show because they have all Android open source stuff, and I didn't have my HDR Plus, I didn't have the gallery sync, I didn't have, a Picasa sync or stuff like that. And I got forced closures when trying to start a Hangout with my phone, so that was a huge deal breaker. So obviously there's work to be done. But they are available for all the recent Nexus devices and some older ones. And nightlies are starting to roll right now. So if you're a fan of CyanogenMod, go check them out.
Absolutely. And we did have some device firmware updates. Nothing world, like none of the big devices released this week, but there is something about Samsung. I could do the Samsung one because that is my middle name, apparently. Samsung has always been good at updating devices. It doesn't seem that way in the US, but they do roll out through the EU and Canada pretty reasonably well. And now they're looking at 4.4 for the second mid-tier devices like the Mini and the S Advance and the Ace and the Core and the Fame, things that we very rarely see in North America.
We see a lot of those Aces around. I see a lot of those.
I suppose as pay-as-you-go phones.
Yeah, like parents buying it for their kids and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of that.
So they're going to take advantage of KitKat being optimized to run on a 512 megabyte of RAM. I'm wondering what this is going to do to TouchWiz. Are they going to start skinifying it now that they don't have to add all that usability in? It'll be included in KitKat. So Ryan, did you have a comment?
Well, I thought, for me personally, to think Samsung updating is kind of, because I follow the updates, and it does get some of the updates, but slowly but surely. I just thought, what a slap in the face to those who bought the Galaxy Nexus. Like Google says, no, not going to do it. And then Samsung's going to go and now provide that to an Ace 2. I mean, an Ace 2 is like one of the most beat, cheap phones out there, and yet the Galaxy Nexus won't get this update. I thought that's absolutely a shame, and I thought that was kind of sad. That's why I wrote in the comments, I went, whoa, what? Like, oh well. Anyways, interesting times to be sure.
And that's a tough one too, because the Samsung was updating the Nexus, and they it seemed like after 4.1.2, they could not get it to play. Like, that was one thing. I had updated my Nexus to 4.2.2, and it sucked. So I think that there is something more going on there than just your basic updates for the Nexus, Galaxy Nexus. But let's move on to app updates. Ryan, you like app updates.
I do. I keep track of them. These are the sort of the main ones. WhatsApp is now, basically can handle ART. Google Play Movies now has an option to choose the SD or the HD if you bought the HD, so you can download a smaller version of the movie to watch if you're running low on space. Duolingo now has a new looking UI. It now has the hamburger sort of slide out and a little better look at UI all around. Google Play Music now lets you save to the SD card your cache music. Angry Birds Star Wars 2 now has some more levels, so you guys can play Pop More Pigs and Star Wars. Next Launcher 3D, Tom, I think you were using that, right?
Martin got me into that.
So it's got some new updates, all right? So
I haven't used it in a while because I started really liking stock, but Martin showed me and we were playing around with those themes together, showing each other the themes, and yeah, I gotta give Martin props for that. That was an amazing launcher.
I mean, if you guys want to see a screen of what Next Launcher looks like at this moment, I can probably turn it on for you guys.
Go ahead and turn it on.
That's exactly what I'll be doing, Cass. Have to just open up the software on my own PC first.
Kind of put you on the spot there.
It's all good. I'm good. I can work with that.
We're actually doing pretty good on time.
Yeah, I know. For once. 168 1.69. Go figure. And let's turn it on. And of course, whenever I want to use it, it just never works, right?
Of course.
I'll just do the old-fashioned way. Scream to me.
Not in a hurry. Just show us.
Hopefully it shows up pretty. Hopefully it shows up normal on the screen. So that's what it would look like somewhat right now with the new details that they made.
That's
nice.
Cool.
So it's more KitKat availability. It's got some new 3D improvements.
Oh, definitely a lot of improvement. I mean, it's not the actual response of it and how it flies on your screen is much faster than what it used to be. So it's more snappy. It's more fluid.
Very cool.
Okay, and next up, tip of the week.
Tip of the week. I thought I'd handle this one. This was one, and I'm going to ruin the name. I'm sorry. Kashid Zaif, who's actually a fair good follower of ours in terms of commenting and posting in the Google community we have. He was making a comment how in 4.4 it looks like it's harder now to attach regular files like a doc file or a PDF, etc. How do you attach that to a Gmail? You could go into the app itself and then you choose to share, go into like a PDF and choose share, and then choose Gmail. But if you're in a Google Mail, how do you actually attach? And I'm going to show you here how I do it. And it wasn't as simple as I thought it would be. So let's see here. Now I think we've lost Sylvain, so he can't really bring that up for me to bring that to full screen for me. I'm not sure. Anyway, so here's my screen. So I'm going to go up into Gmail. I'm going to start a new email. And you would choose to drop down. You see it's attach picture or attach video. So there's no real way for me to actually attach a non-picture or non-video. The trick here is just choose attach anything. And now with 4.4, the new file picker program, you can see there's the pictures I could choose. Just swipe over, and then you can choose from a drive file. You can drive from your downloads, your internal storage. You might have to go into settings here and say display advanced devices to show up the internal storage. Or if you had a file explorer like Solid Explorer, you could choose that. So I could choose Solid Explorer and then go ahead and pick any file I wanted to and then say attach that to the Gmail. So that's how you would attach a file in Gmail. Okay, there you go. So have at it.
That seems like a little bit of an oversight. It should have it's like an attach with a couple of dots at the end, meaning what, and then kind of give you the availability of everything. Because I would have never thought to attach a picture and then with full intentions of attaching like a music file or something.
Yeah, you would think just attach file and then go into go to a file picker, and then you could actually then from there choose pictures or video or whatever type. Whereas this, it's very explicit to say pictures or video, and if you're looking for something different, it's not intuitive that I should pick it and then look around for something else.
We should get Mark to write a rant about this so Google will fix it.
Yeah.
Listen to you, Mark.
Oh yeah, that'll always work.
Okay. I'm not sure if Sylvain is still here.
I just got a message. He's coming. He had an emergency. He's running. He'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay. So we'll keep moving on. We're now at the App Coliseum part, so Sylvain will go last. Let's start with last week's winner. It was Ryan with Badland. Everybody say congratulations.
Absolutely addictive game, guys. If you have not played it, and something I didn't cover last week, and I'll take an extra minute here just to let Sylvain get back. I didn't realize in Badland there is a multiplayer mode that you can. What it'll do is you can actually put different zones on your phone as being a touch spot for the other player, so you can get up to 4 people on one phone controlling each their person, and so you all have a little bit of a race to see who gets further or whatever. It's absolutely cool, I thought. So go play it. I can't have it in my App Coliseum this week, but it's definitely a hilarious or fun game. Go try it out, and it's very initiative.
So it was worth the wait to get it ported from iOS?
I don't know. I don't follow iOS, so.
Because I thought it was ported from iOS.
Yeah, well, it wasn't really ported. I mean, the app developers,
from?
They had it on iOS for a long time, so therefore it was fine. I guess before we go on to our own App Coliseum, we have Pierre Renaud, who has commented on the doc, who wanted to say his App Coliseum this week is going to be real chess clock. So he likes chess.
Cool.
So let us know what your App Coliseum is out there, people.
Okay. Well, Sylvain is back, yay. And just in time for App Coliseum. So I'm going to go Mark, then Martin, Ryan, Sylvain, and Tom, and me. Because that's how I see them on my screen. So,
sure.
Mark, you're up.
All right, my apps. So I was kind of struggling because I haven't used many apps this week, but there was one that I did use a while back, and I've been playing it on and off. It's a game. I've been playing it on and off every once in a while. So I'll just do a screen share. I don't have I have it loading right now on my tablet. Actually, it's ready now. But I'll do this. I'll just show you the Play Store screen first. So the one I have is, if you're a big fan of the show, there's a Walking Dead Assault. It's a game you can play on your tablet or your smartphone, and it's kind of like a top-down. So You can just pop these ones in here. So kind of like a top-down, you control like up to 2 characters, I think it is, and you can and you choose between a melee or a light range weapon. You can upgrade them and everything. It's free to get, so and then they have in-app purchases for getting new things. You can choose your characters. So I'll just show you a bit here. Let me turn off the screen share. Okay, so here I got it on the tablet. It's kind of like a top-down. You can just tap. You can swipe your finger around and move, and you can rotate the camera around by twisting. You can collect different things just by double tapping. So it's actually, and it actually works. It's a really fun game. It's not I don't know if it can get difficult at times, but it's actually still is quite enjoyable, and the art direction is really cool. It's kind of like it's a very comic book style that they're doing. So I've actually been enjoying it quite a bit, especially since I watched the show.
Okay, so if you like The Walking Dead.
That was Walking Dead Assault, right, Mark? Sorry?
Yeah, Walking Dead Assault, right.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to Martin.
All right, my app this week is going to be Camera Awesome. For anybody that doesn't know what Camera Awesome, basically it's a camera replacement for your phone, but it has so many built-in options, and actually on my HTC One, the quality of the pictures are higher than the actual default camera app that the HTC One has. So I'll just do a screen share of what I have here, and you guys can see what Camera Awesome will bring you, if I can find the app.
Do you have Christmas lights going on in your background?
Don't ask about that. I'll share later.
I'm just saying, for people who might be noticing you turning colors.
Oh yeah,
I too am seeing that.
Whole bunch of colors. So this is the Google Play Store app for Camera Awesome, and with all the features that they have in the application, it's not even funny. You have to play with it. I mean, you can do pretty much anything you want from the application, from HDR to still shots to burst photos to you can change the color balancing. You can do everything, but it also takes advantage of the Tegra 4 that you have on your phone, so you get better pictures and whatnot. But it's really worth trying this application more than actually using just stock or anything else. This one's doing a great job.
Okay, so a camera app for people that are looking for a different thing with lots of options. And this is a camera app, not something like the ones that just take a picture and then add a bunch of filters.
Yeah, no, this is a full-fledged camera app, and
Okay.
if you want to add filters, you can. But the main focus of it is all the different options you have, like for HDR shooting, low light vision, whatnot, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with it.
Okay, so that's Martin's. Now on to Ryan. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Ryan.
Ryan's muted.
Muted?
I'm muted.
Muted?
I'm muted?
Now you're not.
You were.
I'm not. I was muted before. I was muted. Anyways, my app today is something called Duolingo. So, I mean, if you guys follow me, you know, one of the things I tend to talk about is my son being in a French immersion program right now and how terrible my French is. What to say en français. So, this app called Duolingo, and I mentioned it in the app updates that it has a new interface. Great little app for teaching you how to speak another language. So it has actually a reminder, hey, practice time. And at the time that it came up, practice time, you tap it, brings up Duolingo, and I'm learning French. You can learn any other apps or languages if you wanted to. Right now I'm in the basics level, and it starts off, and I don't know if you guys can hear this. So here is my basics level 2. I'm on lesson 4. It tells you what the types are. And it'll speak this out to you. I don't know if you can hear this. Let me turn this up a bit higher.
Elles sont rouges.
And so I would say they are red. Check. Oh, correct. Oh, I got it right. News alone. We like the books. So pretty simple stuff, but again, for me, the biggest thing is remembering stuff like gender of the French words. And again, it's just a nice little way to help keep me using it every day. Because as much as my son is learning it, he's not really learning it. He's just been kind of immersed in it. So making sure I'm trying to stay one step ahead of him for it. Le journal. Right? And getting to speak it as well. And there's actually a couple of them where they'll actually have you say that. They are red. We're trying to find where it actually you bring up the microphone and you have to say that stuff. So kind of a cool little app. If you want to learn a different language, this is a good way to actually try something out. And it reminds you every day to practice, and you keep going through it. And if you make too many mistakes in one of the lessons, you have to start it all over. So kind of fun.
So is that Parisian French or Quebecois French?
It is going to be Parisian French. But again, for me, who's going to try to learn at least something, it'll be better than nothing.
And now we have French chat going on that we're not going to translate because...
Okay, Ryan...
What the heck?
I like, the work that I demonstrate.
He likes it when you use apps that let us learn something new.
Okay, sure. I would have gotten at it slowly but surely. It takes me a while to learn to read.
Yes, but I had time to read
all good,
while you were talking.
So anyways, there you go. A good Canadian app for you if anyone wants to learn a different language.
That's right. We should all be bilingual.
There are a bunch of other languages in there as well. So if you want to speak Mexican, you want to speak Spanish, Italian, Greek, something like that. So try it out.
Definitely trying to learn Mandarin.
And it's free.
Ooh.
And it's a free app.
Interesting. Okay, so next up is Sylvain. Chess.
Yes, this week I'm talking about chess, so a really easy game. Well, I don't know if the game is easy, but it's pretty nice to play. You can have 1 or 2 players on it. I don't know if you guys can see. So, to start a new game, you can decide are you having the white or the black ones, and decide your difficulty. Child, beginner, easy, medium, or hard. So I'll try hard.
I would have tried child, but...
So just a chess game, right? It tells you where you can put your next piece. And you go like this. One thing I like about it is that you can save your game at any time. I didn't try if it just saves your game as you exit the game, but I saw a little button to make sure your game is saved. So yeah, nice little game, and keeps your brain going on.
Is it multiplayer at all, Sylvain, or is it just against your phone?
No, you can play against another person. I guess the other person would need to play on your phone. I think.
Okay, so they couldn't be on their phone with the same app.
That's right.
Okay. So that's chess. I think you'll get at least 1 vote.
Yes, mine.
No, okay, then at least 2.
I usually get 1, and it's mine, so it's good.
Well, Pierre, who's watching, was mentioning his app this week was that chess clock game, so maybe he might try this out too.
That's what I was thinking. This would be your other plus. Okay, Tom, you're muted.
Yes, I am. So my phone's not rooted, so I'll have to do this the old-fashioned way. So my app is going to be a tool for Picasa, and what it does is it essentially gives me back features I should have had to begin with. So I'm not sure how well you guys can see, but anyways, this is essentially the gallery version of Picasa, but in its own app, and you got all your pictures separated by albums. When I updated to the new OTA for my Nexus 5, which is 4.4.1, I lost the ability to share to Picasa. So this is a picture I took of our Hangout. This is Mark, obviously, on the screen. So let's say I want to share to the Picasa. It's not here. So, I mean, there's no way to actually share to Picasa anymore. They removed it in the new OTA. And what I could usually do is click on Picasa, say I want to upload to a specific album within my Google Photos, and it would go. There's no way to do that now. So if I click on the new Photos app, it lets me upload to just my account. It's hard to see, but anyways, it shows my account there. It doesn't tell me what folder, what album. It just puts it in an auto-upload folder, and I have to kind of manually do it on my computer later. What this new Picasa tool does is basically give me back that feature. So I click on Picasa tool, and brings up the screen, wait for the white to clear out, and then they got existing album, shows me all my albums here, just like I used to get. So I'll click on any album like views, and I can upload, I can select what resolution I want, if I want one for maximizing the view or saving space, and I can upload it. This is a feature that Google took out. And it used to work seamlessly with the Google Photos. So this is a free app that will kind of give you back that option because they took it out, and now I have essentially no way to upload photos directly to a certain album I have on Google's cloud. And I'm not sure if they have plans for that in the future, but I've been writing them feedback almost continuously saying, hello, I need this feature back. So I'll kind of go into the actual app a little bit more here. Where is it? So we got all your views here. You can hide, you can share. So if I go to our Cats album, I can share it, and it'll let me share through any of these means. I can share it through Google+, or I can send a link to Gmail. I can copy it and paste it somewhere else, and that will actually share a link to the live album. And it will, if I send that link to like all my friends and family, as I update the album, they will see it live. So I usually do that with our family photos and photos of my son and stuff, so they can see pictures when they're ready. I don't have to spam them with emails as pictures are available. They can go there when they feel like it. So this app is free. It's called Tool for Picasa, and the comma says Google Plus Photos. It works for both. So check it out. The only thing you have to deal with is a little ad banner, and there's an option to pay to get rid of the banner, which is $7, which is kind of outrageous, but it's not required. It just removes the banner. It gives you some pro features, but they're not really that great, not enough to justify spending $7 for. So if you're like me and you rely on uploading directly to your Picasa album or Google Photos, go check that out, Tool for Picasa.
Nice. I think that I was just checking, and yeah, if you're using the native Photos app, there is no share. Although in my gallery on the S4, there is still share to Picasa. So I'm not real. I can see why you want this, Tom, and I think it'll be a great tool because there are tons of people that are trying to do something with their photos. They're uploading to G+, and then they're just like a big blob.
Yeah, they mash all the photos into an auto-upload folder, and you can't move them anywhere else. You can share them and you can delete them. That's about it. So I had to find a tool to kind of bridge that connection to get my photos in the albums where they belong, and that's a headache in itself after they took away that feature.
I believe you can, if you I'm trying to see, I'm going into the G+ Photos album. If I look at a picture, I know it's my backup, I can actually, I think...
you can make it into an album, but it just duplicates the picture.
No, but there's a spot, I swear I could say, at one point, say, take this picture and copy it to a folder or whatever, so...
What you have to do is, somebody helped me with that last night, and you have to upload it through the Google Photos app, and it takes like 3 minutes for it to pop up. It's a slow upload in the background, and then it goes to your auto backup folder, and then from that folder you have to copy it to an album, which is adding way more steps than you really need to. So I was trying to do that. I was trying to upload a photo, and I hit upload, and it says, okay, it's uploading, and then it's done, but I can't see it. And then like 5 minutes later, when I've forgotten about it, it just appears, and your photo is ready to be shared, and then now I can move it. That's kind of a long, drawn-out, indirect way of doing this.
Well, let's talk about this more after the Hangout. I'm going to do my app, and we'll wrap up because, we're going public, and Martin is Gotta cook for 12 people. So my app is actually Sol Mail. I think Martin had talked about a mail app, and I was interested, but not as interested in that particular one, so I ended up with Sol Mail. And this is how it looks compared to my native mail app. So you can see on the bottom, there's not a lot. There's folders there, and then you can't really see a lot of your email. Whereas with Sol Mail, you can see most of your email just right there. And it is multi-window, so I can adjust the window. It's kind of nice for dragging stuff. The thing that I like about it the most is, come on, you, there we go. The thing I like about it the most is that feature that Ryan was saying that he really liked out of Gmail. Like, it's got a lot of swipe to delete. So if I want to swipe an email, I can just send it away. I've selected, and it's gone. So it's actually a very nice interface. It's got the hamburger on top with the slide-out menu, and you can choose to have a bunch of different email messages. And also, just for people that are on Shaw, like I was having problems getting my Shaw email to work. If you phone Shaw, there's settings that you cannot see. Even if your password fits what they say, they still have to turn on some mobile email thing. So give this a try. If you have Shaw email and it's not working for you, make sure to phone Shaw and get everything checked. So that's my app, Sol Mail, and it's in the Play Store. It's free. So that is it for today. For our App Coliseum, remember to vote on the original post. We have Tool for Picasso with Tom, Chess from Sylvain, Duolingo from Ryan, Camera Awesome from Martin, Walking Dead Assault from Mark, and Sol Mail from me. So we have a really good mix of games and applications. So there's something there for everyone. I think that about wraps it up. Does it not, you guys?
I think we're good.
That's it.
Let's all say goodbye. Should we go 1, 2, 3 goodbye, or should we say goodbye separately?
Oh, I don't know.
1,
A
2,
massive
3.
goodbye would be fun.
1, 2, 3.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night.
Au revoir, as I would learn in Duolingo.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Au revoir.